So we're looking at 11. We're going to graph a piecewise function. This time, I'm looking at where my graph is divided, and it appears to be at 2 again. All right? So I'm going to draw myself a vertical line at 2. You don't have to draw this vertical line. It's not part of the graph, but it helps. I think it helps figure out, what's going on where. So basically, I'm going to have one line that exists to the left of the line that I just made, and one line that exists to the right. Okay? So when I go to graph this one like normal, first of all, I don't like that the variable's not first, so can I rewrite this as negative x plus 4? How would you normally graph that? Start at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I would go down 1 over 1. Now this one only exists on the left-hand side of that line. So all the dots that I'm making are totally fine because it's on the left of that dotted line that I made. So I'd start at 4 and I'd go down 1 over 1. Now when I actually hit the line, do I have an open dot or a closed dot? Open. So I have enough to do this side. So that's the line that exists to the left of my original dotted line. Now I have to create this one. The problem is the y-axis is over here and my line only exists over here. So you can start on the y-axis and then only start drawing your graph when you hit the dotted line. That's one option. Another way to do it, though, is just take 2 and plug it in and see what comes out. So if I take 2 and plug it in, that would be 4 minus 6, which comes out to be negative 2. So when x is 2, I get out a negative 2. Would that be a closed dot or an open dot?
Wait, how did you do that?
I took 2, where it's splitting, and I plug it in for x. So when I plugged in 2, I got out negative 2, sorry. And I get to put a closed dot because x is allowed to be 2 on the bottom. And since that's a point on my line already, I can just follow the slope. So I just follow the slope of 2 and I continue it on only the right-hand side of this line. And you'll notice that my 2 lines never overlap each other. I don't have 2 closed dots on top of each other because that's not allowed. You can have 2 open dots on top of each other. Like we had in that other one, there's just no answer there. If this line had kept going, right, if you had extended it over here, it would have crossed my y-axis at negative 6. But I can't draw it over here. I can't draw this piece. So, but if you prefer, you can start at negative 6 and go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and then just draw the line after you hit this vertical line. If that's easier for you, you could do it that way. What do we think? It's weird, right? But they're doable. Especially if you remember to just look at your graph when you're done. Make sure you don't have the 2 lines overlapping each other. So in other words, it needs to still pass the vertical line test. And mine does, so I'm happy. Let's scoot back up to number 9. This one happens to split at 0. When they split at 0, I think it's a little bit easier because you get to use the y-axis on both sides. So give this one a shot without me kind of telling you what to do. Number 9, yep. So the whole graph of, okay, let me shut up. Give you a chance to try it. All right, let's see how we did. So, I already drew my dotted line where x is equal to 0. Just helps me remember something's going to happen on the left, something will happen on the right. I follow this line on the left because that's when x is less than or equal to 0. So I need to follow the line 2x plus 3. So, if I'm going to graph the line 2x plus 3, where do I start? At positive 3. 1, 2, 3. Can I put a solid or a open here? Solid, because x is allowed to actually be 0. Now I would normally go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. But remember that this does not exist over here. So I still want to have a slope of 2, but I only want to draw it on this side. So instead of going up 2 over 1, you go down and left. Down and left, down and left, down and left. Which, if you go back and just make sure, as I'm moving from right to left, don't I still have a slope of 2? I'm still going up 2 over 1. It's just, I know it feels wrong because you're going down and you're like, but my slope is a positive 2. I know, but if you go left to right, aren't I actually going up? Yeah, it feels awkward at first. But there's that side. The other thing, yeah, sure. The other thing you could do is if you know you're going to start at 3 and you would normally go up 2 over 1, you could just line up your protractor and instead of drawing the whole line, just draw the line from here down. That's another option. But however you slice it, you have to have this as it is. So solid dot up at 3, and then I should be going like this. Now when I go to graph this one, it's actually quite easy because it's what I'm used to. I'm splitting at 0, so I get to start at -1 and then just follow my slope of a half, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So that's how I'm used to graphing, so that's nothing special, except at 0, can I have an open or a closed dot? It has to be open because it's x is greater than 0, not x is equal to 0. So that dot right there should be open. And make sure that it's clear that it's open. Sometimes kids make a clear and open circle so small that it looks like it's closed. So just make sure that I can definitely tell that it's open. And there it is. Do the vertical line test. Make sure that you still have a function and you didn't mess up. Do something crazy. We're feeling better? Alright, we'll do one more and then we'll try having 2 splits in our graph. So if we look at 10, if you think you know what to do, go right for it. If you need a little bit more help, I'm going to walk you through it. Where's my whole graph split this time? 3. So I'm going to put a dotted line at 3. And it's a little bit harder when they don't split at 0. Okay. So something will happen on the left and something will happen on the right. This is what's going to happen on the left when x is less than or equal to 3. You can go ahead and graph this like normal. Just stop once you hit the dotted line. So I would normally begin at -1 and then go down 1 to the right 3. I've already hit the dotted line. Do I put a closed dot or an open dot there? Closed in this case because it can equal 3, so I go ahead and put a closed. But I have 2 dots, that's all I need to get this left-hand side. There's that. Now the right-hand side, okay, this one actually works out because it's just y equals 2. So I just graph the horizontal line at 2. Just make sure you only started at the dotted line and go to the right. So, and on the line, on the dotted line, is it open or closed? Open because that's x is greater than 3. And I'm at 2 and I just graph like this. All right, so let's try when we split and we have 3 different parts of our graph instead of just 2. So on 12, my graph is getting split once at 0 and then again at 2. So I want to draw 2 vertical lines this time, one at 0 and one at 2. So something's going to happen to the left, something's going to happen in the middle, and then something else is going to happen on the right. So, for the left, I want to graph the line 2/3 x plus 3. I normally start at +3, right? Closed dot or open right here? Closed. And now I need a line that has a slope of 2/3, but I can only draw it to the left. So instead of it going up 2 to the right 3, you can go down 2 to the left 3. And there's that side. Is this okay so far? Everybody's all right? Okay, now in the in-between, that little tiny spot, in between 0 and 2, I'm just going to follow the line y equals 3. Well, that's not so bad because that's just a horizontal line at 3. So, what kind of dots, though, happen at the 0 and 2 line? They're both open. So, now, oh, here's one of those times. 1, 2, 3. I would normally put an open dot there, but there's already a closed dot. If I have a closed and an open in the same spot, you just leave it filled in. So it's just going to stay solid. And then on this side, I'd have an open dot. And the reason for that answer, even though that would normally be an open dot for this guy, it doesn't matter. When I ask you what the value of y is when x is 3, it doesn't matter. It's going to spit out the same answer for either one. So when they happen to overlap each other like that, it's totally fine. And then all I have to do is graph this last piece, and I'll be all set. So, I would normally start at the origin, but the origin isn't in the region that I want to work with. I need to start over here. So what I could do is I could start at the origin and then go down 1/2 until I get over here, and then just keep it going there. You can plug 2 in. If I plug in 2, it spits out a -1. So I know right here I'm going to have a closed dot at -1. Whichever method you're using. If you start at the origin and went down 1/2, or if you take 2 and plug it back in, 2, -1 comes out. And I know it's a closed dot because I have the or equal to there. And now I can just continue with my slope. Down 1/2, down 1/2. And there is the rest of it. Notice my graph still passes the vertical line test. Nobody's overlapping. I don't have 2 closed dots on the same vertical line here, so you just double check. Yep, that's an open and a closed, so that's fine. Just can't have 2 closed. So that's kind of how you handle splitting with 3 parts.